What's going on, boys and girls? Senpai Hobby back with another video. This one has been requested by specifically one person for at least 6 months, and I just haven't gotten around to doing it. And seeing how I have the goof that has some lighting to do, this would be a perfect opportunity to show you guys how to do some soldering and doing some light work. Now in this video, I'm just going to show you some different steps and mostly what you're going to need to do this, because it's not as simple as just getting a soldering iron. You're going to need some stuff to get it all set up. To do it properly, you can kind of jank it, but I wouldn't suggest it. So, and I'm actually doing something a little bit different for the goof than the lighting that comes with it, but I will show you if you just want to go, you know, if you have that kit, if you want to do something exactly like what comes in that. So without further ado, let me jump down to the table, show you what all that we're going to need first, and then I'm going to run you through the steps of soldering your wires and LEDs. All right, here we are over the desk, and as you can see, it is a complete mess, but you know what they say. A clean desk means nothing's getting done. So let's go over some of the things that we're going to end up needing for this project. And of course, for this, we have the LEDs that were included in the goof kit. I don't know how much that we're going to end up using from this. You do get some wires. It's really funky how they ended up doing these though. Like you guys saw on the live stream, like all the wires are all separated, and they put resistors in there and the LEDs, but we're going to see if we can't use our own LEDs for this. And speaking of that, we're going to actually change out the power supply. So I'm going to put a link down below to these. They are just twinkle lights, I guess you would end up saying. We got a whole bunch of these for the wedding, and I've been purchasing these like off and on over the years to use just the LEDs themselves because they're super resilient. They work out very well. And the battery packs are fairly small. Now I'm going to unwind this one. Now I'm probably going to regret doing that. All right, so using these, you can see that these are pretty bright, and you can see why I end up liking these. Now they do get kind of hot, but I mean, not super hot. These come in really handy if you're wanting to do them for a mono eye, for a little lighting effects on a kit. These are just basically like hard, I don't know if it's epoxy, hot glue. It kind of seems like it's a hard hot glue. But anyway, I have these in red, blue, green. I have them in every color in the rainbow. But I also like using this box as a tester or a base. Now it already has a resistor on here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how to take one of these, which is the power supply for this, and turn it into a tester, and B, you know, your power base supply. Most people are there going to do a kit that has LEDs and something like that. You're going to do a diorama with it, and that's what we're going to end up doing with this. And keep in mind, you can get these that take AAA's. You can get these that take 9 volts, I think, and a couple of other different ones. But like I said, these are super cheap. I think it's like $9 for a dozen of these strands. Next up, we have different sizes of heat shrink tubing. These are always handy. This was like $6 or something like that on Amazon. Everything's from Amazon, just except for one item, and I think you can probably find it on Amazon. Some wire strippers. These are not necessary. You can just use a hobby knife or just kind of ghetto it and use your teeth to strip them. I do that all the time. One thing I will recommend is this. This is acid flux, and this is going to be used on, so when you have bare wires like this, I recommend just brushing a little bit onto the ends. Now you don't want to get it on your hands, but you just want to put a little bit on there. It's going to clean off, like I'm twisting these right now, it's going to clean off any of the residue from your hands, anything else, to ensure that you get a nice solid solder. Again, this one I remember I got from Hobbytown. It was $4. I think I got this, I think it's labeled like 2008, something like that. It's still good, and I've hardly used any of it. A bottle of this will last you for freaking ever. Something that's optional is going to be a handy dandy handy tool. That way you can actually like hold your LED and your wire and solder it. Sometimes I use this, sometimes I don't, but it comes in really handy. It also has a soldering gun holder on this side. Speaking of a soldering iron, so I actually ended up getting this set, and it literally has anything and everything that you will need to be able to do yours. I actually think it even has a wire stripper in here. Looks like it. I don't know that it will go small enough for what we need, but everything that comes in here. The reason that I bought this and it was $12, $14. The reason I got this is with this soldering iron, you can actually control the temperature of it, which is really nice. Now, I suggest doing a cutting board. I prefer doing a cutting board. That way you can wipe off any solder, any debris that's on your tip here, which it's not plugged in, so don't touch it while it's hot. On the board, if you slip up, you drop it, it lands on the board. It doesn't melt your hobby mat. It doesn't melt anything else. Mostly, it doesn't melt you. Has a simple on-off switch over here, and then again, you have a little dial over here that's going to tell you your temperatures. Last but not least, we have a 4-ounce rosin core solder. This is a 6040. Again, I got this as a hobby town, and I want to say this was, I think I got it at the same time as I got this stuff. So yeah, 10 years or more, and it still has a ton in here. I like this. I will find an alternative that you can end up ordering on Amazon, but you do want the rosin core because it's going, as that melts, it's going to help bind and clear off any impurities, things like that. Now, one of the things I did not do when I ended up doing this was I did not find out which wire was the negative, which was a mistake on my part, but that is simple enough. Now, I'm going to show you guys here in a little bit the LEDs that I'm going to try and use, and I'm pretty sure that I can fit these into those burners that go onto the back. I want to use these because they actually are flicker. They're gold yellow color, and they actually flicker, which I think will add more pizzazz, let's say, to the kit than just the solid yellow that they do. If you're wanting to do a more alternative stuff, you can get a pack like this. It has your resistors in here. It has red, blue, green. It has all the primary colors in here. I think it even has some ultraviolet in here. And again, this was like 12 bucks on Amazon, and there's like 200 bulbs in here. Now, something that's interesting is on these, you can actually file these down to a different size and get them into like a flat end, so you can get different effects. With the rounded end, you get a flare out. If you do a flat, like file it flat, you'll get more of a, I want to say, a monotone lighting effect. Hell, if you want to go crazy, you could just do them with an edge file and then polish them and get like a sparkle effect. You can do some weird, cool stuff with these if you just, you know, put your mind to it. First things first, we're going to get all of our things together. So we have 2 alligator clamps. I will put a link down below because these also come in handy for doing your, sticking them on bamboo skewers for holding parts while painting. Now, I have plugged this in, and you do want to be cautious with this when it is plugged in because it does get hot. With this one, I'm going to flick the switch, and you can see the little heating element light is on. So it's going to reach up to 375 degrees, I believe is what I usually have it set at. So for these, we're going to feed this through, and I'm just going to take a file and I want to loop it through that. So I'm just going to leave it just like that. I'm going to take a little bit of this, dab it on there. You don't have to wipe it off. In fact, I don't advise wiping it off. Just let it be. It's not quite the temperature yet. And now we just play the waiting game. Be prepared though, if you end up doing this and wiping it on here. They do recommend doing, they make scrubbers, and I think I have one somewhere, but I've never ended up using it. It's basically a Brillo pad with some water in there that you can just do this, or on a sponge to wipe that off. I don't end up doing that. Now what I end up doing, I just get a little bit on the tip there, dab it on, and you're good. Now you can crimp this down onto the wire, which I probably will do here in a minute. Let's do the other one. Always make sure and put the soldering iron back into the holder. All right, so there we go with that. All right, and Now, like I said, I would recommend doing one of these just as your test, and then another one as your actual usage. And we're just going to crimp this down. All right, so those wires are secure. So we're going to make sure this is off. We're going to put batteries in it. Sometimes you'll get one that has a loose spring like this. Don't stress about it. All right, so this should only light up one way. And this is not the correct way. So we're going to flip these around. And there we go. So now we've found which one is positive, which one is negative. Now these lights are rated up to 12 volts, and it already has a resistor in there. Now this is only putting out 4.5 volts, so half of that. I think for what we're doing, this might just be enough. So once you end up finding which one is your positive and which one is your negative, just make sure. And man, I am always losing electrical tape. Like, I can't keep a roll of electrical tape within eyesight to save my life. So as hobbyists, what do we do when we can't find electrical tape? Well, we just find some hobby tape, because we always have this laying around. So I would mark your positive. So I'm just going to wrap this around, grab a Sharpie, and you don't have to mark the negative side. So now we have our tester. Now, when you look at LEDs, you're going to see that there is one leg that is longer than the other. That longer leg is going to be your positive side. So we're going to spread these out a little bit. You don't have to buy your dinner first. And there we go. Now, I am not concerned with blowing out any of the LEDs because this already has a resistor in there. But let me show you. So here we are with our wiring. So this only has, what, 4 resistors, 6 LEDs, and they plan on you doing 6 different wirings. So if you're doing it correctly, see, this is my problem with doing these, is like, it just doesn't work on that. So what we're going to do, and there you go. Just if you put it in between your teeth, it works. Like, it works. Now these wires that they put in here, they seem to be a solid wire, which is really strange. Okay, so this is where this is going to come in to play. So we're going to, I'm trying to do this where I can film it and show you guys. And here's what I do sometimes, especially if I'm working with something kind of fiddly, is that first wire I'm going to bend over just like this if it'll focus. And then I'm going to take one of these resistors and I'm going to cut and bend that around like that. Grab the other. Now I'm going to press them together just like that. So as you can see right here, I have the wires all folded. And there is a whole theory about resistance, strength, everything else. I am not the person to be asking about that. I don't know. Half the time I don't use resistors. Half the time I buy lights that already have resistors attached. So, all right. So we're just going to try and be focused with the camera. And it's done. It literally takes a split second. Now you want the resistor on your positive cable. So there is that. And now let's grab one of the LEDs that they included. So let's say a blue one. Now I'm going to clip that one down, and on the LED here, on the positive one, I'm going to bend the negative out of the way. We have the positive one, and I'm going to clip that down. I'm going to hold that with that. And just like that, you want them just up against each other. And done. Now next up, I'm going to stick the negative wire in. Stick the LED in there, line them up so that they're touching just like that. Get a little solder. Get that out of the way, not to burn ourselves. All right, and there we are basically with that one done. Now we're going to test it. So we're going to hook the positive. And there you go. Now what the resistors do is they cut down the power flow to what the LED is rated to. That is the main purpose. This already has one in here, so this one's kind of redundant, but it's in there just in case. You're not going to be pushing a lot. Like they're doing 2 watch batteries, which is going to be pushing, I want to say 3 volts, something like that through there. So we're going to be fine with this. Personally myself, I think this wire is too bulky. All right, so inside of here, I have a whole bunch of different heat shrinks. And what I'm going to do, just going to find one that's about the right size that'll slip over everything. Of course, I put my scissors away because I'm a dumbass. Don't judge. Don't judge. Slide this over. And then slide this one over the other side. Like to do this just to be safe. And don't think I have a lighter in here. So if you don't have a lighter, I will usually hit it with like a lighter, just real lightly. But as you can see, the whole purpose in this is it's not going to burn, but it's going to shrink down and protect. So there you go. So that was fairly easy peasy lemon squeezy. I'm not going to go through all of them and everything. There is a switch that is in there as well. I'm going to probably get that wired up and show you guys how to do that, but it's really easy to set up that relay. It just pushes out positive or power to each of the positives. You can daisy chain these. So if you have a, let's say a Verner and a Verner, so you'll go positive, negative, and then the negative will go back to whatever your power block is. Or you can do individual wirings. This myself, I have a feeling that this is going to be a little too bulky, but we will end up seeing. It is nice and bright. I might end up doing, I have some blue ones that do the flickering like the others, so I have to find those. They're still packed up in a box and find those to do that. Always make sure to turn off your soldering iron. That way you don't leave it on and you don't burn down your house or burn yourself or burn your cat. But hopefully this helped you out. Like doing LEDs in this way is super simple. This you can literally mount, like if you're doing a round display base or something like that, you can literally mount this up underneath there, magnetize it however you want to do it, and then you have your on-off switch. This with like 6 LEDs or whatever will last you for freaking ever. Like I still have one of these that's in something that's behind me that has been going for, I don't know, 2 maybe 3 years, and I haven't changed the batteries out, so they don't draw that much power. But I don't like using the watch batteries because they're expensive. It's expensive to buy. It's awkward to replace, especially in something like that. You're going to have to pull apart the torso to get to the battery. I don't like that idea. So yeah, Djibouti, we're going to end up modifying this. I hope this was helpful to someone, anyone. If you enjoyed this and it was helpful to you, hit that like button. If you didn't like this and you think I'm a complete dumbass, hit the dislike button. I don't care. Hit either one. Doesn't matter. This was more for Leon to kind of show him the ins and outs. Like I said, I will put links down below to everything that you're going to end up needing. They are affiliate links. They do help out the channel, to everything that I have shown you to get you started in your soldering and wiring future. Once you get started, you'll find out that it is pretty damn simple. Where I still have hiccups are things like the 1/24th SOSB and high new bust. Those are a pain in the butt because there's so much wiring and it gets fed through little places and they're small and they get, it's crazy. I'll have to show you guys one day, but I hope you guys enjoyed. Hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. I will see you guys all in the next video. Senpai out. Peace.